Hello everyone, and welcome back. Alright, so which one of you said that I was bit by the 3D bug? I don't have a clue of what you're talking about. But for real, guys, yeah, I think I have. It's pretty much become a second hobby for me. If it wasn't for my buddy Harley at West Coast Picks, and my buddy Truckmaster30, though, I wouldn't be as far along as I am, where I am today in 3D printing. I mean, I've gotten so much support from both of them. I mean, really, guys, I want to just thank you both so much. I really appreciate all the help you guys have been giving me. But yeah, I've had some of my subscribers and a few of our fellow pickers here in the community that have been wanting to see the printers, you know, that I'm using, and some of the upgrades I've made to them, and how I've gotten them to actually print as well as they're printing, because I'm really happy with them. We have a new addition over here. It was just my birthday last Friday, and my beautiful wife and my lovely two daughters pitched in and got me, that is the Monoprice V2 version 2 3D mini printer. And I gotta say, I'm really happy with that. That's actually a print out of the box, not a DIY like these, a do-it-yourself. But if you like tinkering around like I do and building models, I mean, these are awesome machines too. For the price, I mean, these are all around $200, maybe a little bit more for the nets. Because I got them from Amazon. I like the 2-day free shipping. I'm very impatient. But yeah, I might have paid a little bit more, but it's worth the customer service that I get. Because I actually had two printers at the very beginning that I had to return. But it actually worked out for me. I ended up with a lot of extra parts from them. Screws, nuts, bolts, you know, some extra tools and such and whatnot. But yeah, these are my printers. I'll kind of go over them real quick. Try not to make this too long of a video. And yeah, because there's a few that are interested in possibly getting a 3D printer themselves, and you know, I highly recommend it. I mean, they're a lot of fun to play with, a lot of fun to build and modify and everything. But like I said, I just had this one for a few days now. I haven't done much modifications, but I've done, you know, some decent amount of printing now. Like I said, I'm very happy with it. Right now we have one of the small skulls on there. You'll see it actually prints really nice. These actually printed on here. A couple of American plug followers. The one on the left was a 1 mil layer height, and the one on the right was a 2. And they're really both smooth as hell. Really smooth. Really like that. This is the very first print I made, was this kick holder, and yeah, it came out really nice for the first print. Right out of the box, just had to do a little bit of systems check and make sure the bed was level, and it was really close. So I printed basically right out of the box. This one here was from the Annette A8. You can see I have them printing really nice now too, with the modifications and everything. But yeah, I haven't done too much to this. I printed this little knob thing here. Makes it easier to spin it around rather than try to grab it, especially when this is over it. You know, you could just reach in there and grab it pretty easily. Fan cover, a little clip-on fan cover. This just clips on, not screwed on. I had one of those at first, but reprinted one. I like this one a little bit better. Up here we have a filament guide, and this one's pretty cool. This is printed on this machine. It has a little pivoting center here, so it makes sure it goes nice and straight. And on these here, the word is that these little thumb knobs here, because you have to depress this, and the spring is really strong, and I've heard of them breaking, and I can see why now too, because it's not even a solid knob, and it's all plastic. So I reprinted this. Actually could just use this part. This is a two-piece part actually. You can see the tolerances are pretty decent on this. But I printed the housing too. Sorry about that. Printed the housing too. Probably gonna, maybe if I replace this, I'll replace the housing and everything. This one here actually has a Bowden type of extruder on it. And what that means is the filament actually gets fed through this tubing right down to the hot end instead of a direct drive like these over here. And for printing with TPU, flexible filament, so with this type of system, and I plan on changing one or maybe both of them into that Bowden system, But I printed up a spool holder here, because this one comes with this type here. It actually clips on this way, so the spool's orientated the wrong way for me. It'd be that way, and it'd be turning around, and to feed in that way is just awkward. I like a more direct feed. Printed a couple of center pieces here. And that's about all I've upgraded on it. Some of the upgrades from version 1 to version 2 that they made, one really nice one, is they have a fan now cooling the components that are in here. Before they didn't have that. They put, instead of tape on the heated bed, they actually have a build tack, and this works really well, just like the ones I'm using over here, the Vertex build tack that I'm using on the Net A8s. And I gotta tell you, that was my biggest problem when I first started 3D printing, was getting it to stick. You know, hardly helped me out through that, and you know, like I said, without those two guys giving me the help I, you know, needed, I wouldn't be as far along as I am today. But anyways, they have a nice little build tack on there now, comes with. And this one here is actually, this heat, I don't know if you can see that, it's got some insulation now they added underneath it to heat it up faster and control the heat a little bit better, I guess. And I know they modified the USB port a little bit. It was inside a little bit too far, and they were having trouble getting in. This, well, has USB, has a micro mini SD card, which came in here, but they didn't give you the little adapter. And my laptop does not have the little slot for a little micro, but I got 2 of these with my other machines, so thank God I already had that. But that's basically it on a little printer, and I'm really happy with it. If you're thinking about getting something that you could just print right out of the box and you don't have to tinker with it, and you got to do a lot of tinkering with these, but like I said, I've had a couple that I've returned, so ended up with a lot of extra parts, all the nuts and bolts and screws for what I'm doing, upgrades and stuff. I kept the belts and ordered some of my own belts, because the belts that come with these, you can see, if I could get it to focus, how shiny that is. These are actually plastic, so when you're trying to tension these can just stretch or break. And another plastic one. This is the type that I've replaced it with. I think that is. Or I know there's a new one in here. It has fiber in it. So they won't stretch and they won't break nearly as easy. Alright, so here's your Net A8s. And when you have this many machines, safety is a real big issue with these. You know, some have been known to catch on fire and everything. So I did install a fire smoke detector right above all 3 machines, because the other one's way over there on the other side of the lock lab, on the bottom of the stairs. I mean, but that one's actually hardwired, so if it did go off, it goes all 3 floors. But yeah, and I have a fire extinguisher right behind me. But anyways, back to these machines. And as far as safety goes, these do not come with a switch, on and off switch. They come with a cord like this, and it is directly fed and attached to your power supply. And what you're going to want to do is get yourself a switch, and don't spend the $3 from Amazon like on this. I did on this one. It lasted maybe about 10 clicks, and then it was just stuck on the on position. But these do have 5-amp fuses, help protect that. Plus you have the switch, and you'll have to get yourself a computer cord. I don't like the cover I printed for this originally. I printed up a new one. I'm going to be replacing that. I have that actually for this one here. I've already... Alright, sorry guys, I hit a button on my camera. But anyways, yeah, so this one here I actually call red, and I call that one blue. And you can see why. This one's red and orange, and that one's blue and orange. Or in your case, it probably looks yellow. But yeah, I've done the upgrades as far as the switch goes, and these are both Net A8s, but this one was sold by SaneSmart, and that one was sold by Net, but you know, from Amazon. And they were exactly the same except for one thing. This one here had extra, that red one had one extra power cord to the motherboard that actually has like a car fuse in it. I guess it protects the motherboard, but it doesn't protect your power supply, so you want to switch for that. And everything else was exactly the same on these, and you want to kind of be careful purchasing an Net, because there's different styles, and the main thing you could you know, see the differences between the two is when you're buying them is look at the H plate. Make sure it's an aluminum H plate, because if it's the same acrylic that they make the frame from, you're only going to have one linear bearing on one side and then two on the other. These here have, well, those linear bearings here, they have two on each side on each rails, and I'm actually having a little problem with one of them on this side of this one. I ordered 4 more that'll be here Saturday. I gotta find out which one it is. It's a little click to it, you can hear that. But anyways, I gotta figure out which one that is, and parts are cheap. 4 of them for $12 from Amazon. But you can see a lot of the upgrades here. The other ones, cable management for the extruder, and one for the hotbed here. And this is like, if you get the one with the acrylic, if you end up with an A8 with the acrylic H plate, you're not going to be able to attach this, because this is actually attached to the H plate. You take the 3 screws out of the cross member, and this will screw into it. And this helps with your cable as far as where it goes into the hotbed. And I'm going to tell you what, this is going to burn out. I don't care. These, they burnt out on both of mine, and actually one day after another. It was so weird. Right now I have them attached by these, and actually fits really good because they're double pronged for both negative and positive, and it fit right on there really nice. But I want to solder them to it. I don't think this is still the safest way to go. But by doing this, that cable is not moving. It's not going to flex like this one here when it goes back and forth. Cable is just going to keep flexing on it, and eventually it's going to frayed and break. You're going to start breaking the little strands in there, and then there's only going to be a few strands, and then it's going to burn out. So I haven't changed this one over yet. I do have all the parts to do it, and I'm waiting for a better soldering iron. I already put the build-tack plate on sideways, so when I do flip it, it'll be on the right way. But I'll be getting a new soldering iron. The one I have, I don't think it's going to get hot enough, and because this here is made to absorb heat, so you got to have a nice hot soldering iron, or you're not going to get some clean solders. But both of these belt tensioners, very important. I got one for both the X, which is this one here, and the Y, which is your hotbed. Nice and tight belts. Get really nice prints, but when you tighten up your belt, it could flex the frame, so you want some frame braces. You can see this one, it's in blue, a little easier to see, and it's attached to the frame here and actually pushing against the motor, so when you're tightening your belt and it's not pulling, you know, on the frame. So frame braces are really nice. Printed up a new duct for the fan, and this is the one that clips to the outside. Harley told me about these, and I gotta tell you, these do fit way, way better. Nice and really, really snug, and they don't fall off. Printed a cover for the fans. I don't know why they never have any fan covers. They do on the parts cooler, you know, that cools the hot end, but not on that one, they never did. Printed a micro adjustment for leveling, which is a huge plus on these, because this little micro switch is usually way back there on 2 screws, and you have to unscrew them and manually up and down it. This here now, if I went from glass to you know, tape or a flatter bed, I just have to screw this one way or another, and it'll, you know, I could re-level it as long as all 4 corners are level. And that's how a nice way of leveling them. And I do have glass. I had 2 tempered glass, and I used to print on that, and it works pretty decent, but it's not a it's not 100%. And these so far have been 100%. I mean, these are really stuck to there. This has been cooled, so, and that is still really stuck on there. So is this one here. Sometimes it can be actually a little pain to get them out, but once they get started, they pop right off. This machine here has what you call a MOSFET, which is a separate controller, and power that powers up the hotbed, because the MOSFET is in the motherboard, and you have one for your hotbed and one for the extruder for the nozzle. And that one doesn't take as many amps, but this one does. As you can tell, that they've burnt out. But it's a separate power, and well, you're not going to see it. It's down there, and I might end up putting one on for the nozzle too, but at least I have one on this one for the hotbed for now. That one I still have to put one on there, and then I'll print up some covers to cover cover up the motherboard. I mean, that way I don't know which cover to print until I do that. Until I put on the MOSFETs, I don't know which cover I'm going to be printing. Printed up some little, I got grease on my hand here. Printed up some little knobbies here because they stick pretty good. The tolerances from everything is printed off of Thingiverse. All my files are from Thingiverse, but you can see, you can barely see those with these little knobbies here. Makes it a lot easier to see and to control it with. A little easier to push your settings. So anyway, yeah, these are my printers, and this is what I've been printing with. And like I said, I've got them printing really good, with a lot of support that I've been getting from my buddy Harley at West Coast Picks and my buddy Truckmaster 30. And again, thank you guys so much. Oh, one other thing I'll show you real quick. I do have quite a bit of inventory already made up for my lock trades, and if somebody needs something real quick. I have a bunch of kick holders, Euro cylinder holders. This box here, we have a bunch of front loaders and Euro pinning shoes, a bunch of plug followers. In this box here, up here I got a nice little supply of pinning trays, the cars. The skull, and these trays and these pinning boxes here, these awesome boxes, were all Harley's designs, and well, the awesome dragon there, and this big huge lock pinning tray here in silver. I've been holding on to this. I believe I'm going to send that out to my buddy Steel Pinnings. I remember we talked about silver lock a long time ago. This one here was a new design that Harley came up with the little dimples too. It holds the lids on a lot tighter, and this one here I printed up for my buddy Bill Bacardi to replace the one that I sent him. There's blue in here I'm going to be sending out to the lock picking patrolman. Yeah, I do have a few supplies. I got some parts, and yeah, I'm about 5 months, 6 months into 3D printing now, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. And yeah, if you guys are thinking about getting one, that's the machine if you want to print right out of the box, but it's a lot smaller. And the reason why I wanted that and got it was because I do a lot of printing with the plug followers, the kick holders, and all that. And I don't like tying up the bigger printers because I'm impatient, and when they're tied up with the little things, I'd rather be printing something a little more substantial on the bigger ones. So I wanted that one, and that's actually a very quick printer. That one does definitely print quicker than these. But yeah, those are my printers, guys. So I hope this was helpful in any way for anybody that is thinking about getting your own printer. But yeah, that's about it, guys. So well, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you guys have any questions or comments, comment below. And yeah, everyone, please be safe and stay legal. Thanks, guys.